Recently, we've seen a trend start that even Mr. Krabs would be disgusted by. I'm talking about the greed of video game developers always putting things behind DLCs that should be base components of video games. I'm talking about Paradox Interactive. I'm talking about Call of Duty Warzone. I'm talking about Overwatch 2. All of these companies just have a seriously disgusting, despicable, immoral history of locking things that should be key components of the game or were advertised as being key components of the game behind a paywall that's usually a ridiculous price too. I'm not talking like $5, $10. I'm talking $30, $40, 25 in some instances. Things that really should just be part of the base game or were promised to consumers when they bought the game that it would be a part of that get locked behind these paywalls that because that's essentially what it is. A DLC is a paywall 90% of the time. That's really just trying to milk every penny out of your wallet because that's all you are. You're just a consuming little moron that just wants to consume more. And even though you paid for this product in a base video, they're going to milk every last penny out of you. They're going to pick you up and shake you till your pockets run dry. And that's the problem we see with video games nowadays. A good example being Stellaris today. They dropped a new DLC called Biogenesis, and within 7 hours, it already has 220 very negative reviews on Steam. And this is just a trend that's been nonstop happening amongst all video games. I'm not naming games like indie games. Obviously, there's a lot of very good game developers out there that care about their community and don't lock key portions of their game behind paywalls. I'm talking about the games like Overwatch 2, where they're trying to make you cough up $70, $80 to get a new cosmetic skin for a cool band from Korea, Les Seraphim. I'm talking about the video games like Call of Duty Warzone, where they may charge you for a battle pass and then make you pay $30 for these cosmetic skins and Warzone credits so you can get new skins. I'm talking about Paradox Interactive, where something as simple as getting a house change in City Skylines makes you cough up $20, literally a 2 hours wage for a man working at McDonald's, coughs up like 2 hours worth of wages so you can get a cosmetic change to your houses in City Skylines. This is the greed that I'm talking about. That's just a disgusting trend that's killing video games in the modern century. We went from games like Minecraft, we went from games like Terraria, um, Little Big Planet. We still have games like Roblox, and all these games are very big and very successful for their own reasons. But another key function of those games was they didn't lock behind key components behind DLCs. You buy these games, usually they're advertised too. They advertise DLC content in their advertisements, and they proceed to not include that in the base game and make you pay an extra 25 $30 to get those. It's the equivalent of like when something big happens in the news, a big wow, something happens, ooh, election, whatever, and you go to the first news article, you look it up on Google, and you try to read an article, and you pick like the New York Times, and it's like, you must pay $2 to read this article today, and it's like, the whole point of your job is to create news reports that we can read and news reports that is easily accessible to grow your viewer base, and you're putting it behind a paywall, a $2 paywall, so I can't access free information. This is the same thing with video games. It's really the same thing. You're promising a product, you're making a product and advertising it as such, and then as soon as I actually buy the product, that's when you reveal to us, oh, hey, the function that you really enjoyed or really thought was interesting or cool, we put behind another extra $30 paywall. Go ahead and buy that for us because we know you will. And it's just things like that are just killing video games in the modern century. And this is not strictly between Warzone, Overwatch, Paradox. This is a trend that's starting to be picked up by a lot of different games. You have companies like Nintendo that are trying to up video games, the standard price for video games to $80. Microsoft is also included in that. And Microsoft is the most offensive of these groups because Microsoft is the one that's paying or charging you $80 for these video games. And then they also charge DLCs with video games generally. And these DLCs are, again, content that's promised or advertised to you buying the base game. And then as soon as you get in the base game looking for this new feature thing that you think is cool, it's behind a $20 paywall and you have to pay $20 for it. Microsoft is a lot of companies are grave offenders of this. It's not strictly just these 3 companies or 4 companies I named. It's becoming a trend. And that's why I'm making this video is because it's becoming a trend. And the worst part is people are actually partaking in it and actually buying these products, knowing damn well that they're being swindled. A great example of this that I really hold passionately to my heart is I'm a big enjoyer of strategy video games. I actually really enjoy the whole real time strategy um, environment. Games like Hearts of Iron 4, or even like the Total War series. Those are all great video games to me, and I actually really enjoy them a lot. The problem with a lot of these games is they lock a lot of key features behind paywalls that really just kill the base component of the game. It makes it just dry and vanilla as unfun. And you either have the option of going to the workshop to mod it, which in a lot of these cases, and I will give credit to Paradox here, they do allow workshop mods that can really drastically alter Hearts of Iron 4, for example. A great game with mods. But they lock these cool features that you'd want in the vanilla game. Maybe you don't like modding or don't know how to or whatever. They lock these cool features behind these $25 DLCs. Espionage in Hearts of Iron 4. That's a key component to strategy games is espionage and having that feature where you're spying on people. And that's locked behind, I believe, a $20 paywall on Steam. And so it's things like these where they're just trying to milk you of every single penny that you have. You buy this base game for $40 expecting a great game, like a Red Dead Redemption 2, a GTA 5, a Minecraft. And what you get is a relatively unfinished, unpolished game that's expecting you to cough up more money in return for components of a game that really should be part of the base components, or even um, actually advertised as having that as part of the base game, and you find out it's behind a paywall. And it's no surprise to me that probably in the future that this is just going to continue to exponentially grow worse and worse. They're going to continue milking you for all your money, and then they're actually probably going to try and take more. I would not be surprised that if GTA 6, when it drops in 2026, after it got delayed for the fourth time, they literally make you cut off like an arm and a leg for extra GTA bucks. I'm shocked that Fortnite hasn't even tried this with how big it got back in like 2019. I'm shocked they weren't literally having kids like cut off their arms and legs to get more V-Bucks so they could get a new John Wick skin. Things like that. I also would not be surprised if this becomes the new standard for video games, where you get a game where they're literally charging you like $30 to get the game optimized. Like, you buy this base game and it's just completely an unpolished piece of shit, and they're like, yeah, go ahead and pay 20, $30 to get it optimized. I would not be surprised if that's the trend. That's where we're sailing headfirst toward. It's just a dangerous trend, and it's becoming bullshit to the point where they're expecting you to pay basically the full price of a new video game to get like a single feature or content that should theoretically be part of the component base game. It's just becoming a ridiculous trend, and obviously I worry for the future of this. This is becoming a significant issue. They're so greedy looking for cosmetic skins and charging you out your ass for things that either don't affect gameplay, or in instances of mobile games do affect gameplay for other people, where you're paying, you have some dude with deep pockets that's paying like $60 so he can smoke your base in like the first 30 minutes of your gameplay. It's an awful trend. It's killing the modern gaming industry. It's why there's been no real good game that's come out since really the mid 2015 area. And this is the worst thing, is it's telling them that this is an okay practice to continue and keep doing. And so video games now are being developed with the idea of money in mind. So they'll give you a unoptimized, complete piece of shit, totally, totally, vastly differs from what they advertised. And then to actually get the key components of the game that they did promote in their advertisements, you have to pay $45 to get the DLC for it, or $45 to get the new skin to even make the game look remotely okay. $2 to get the soundtrack, just shit like that. It's completely ridiculous, and it's becoming the new standard, the new norm for video games. And it's just, I think it's going to continue to get worse. I think as more people continue to buy these DLCs and continue to give them more of their money that really should not be given at all and should not be locked behind a paywall, I think they're just going to continue to grow greedier and greedier and continue to smoke us with like $45 DLCs. It really sucks, but that's what I wanted to talk about. So, thanks.